Welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to teach you my top 2 secrets to help you be more successful. Let's dive in. I feel lucky in the fact that I've checked off a lot of boxes in my life, and I consider myself at this point in time in my life to be qualified to give this advice of what it actually takes to change your life completely and to get to where you want to go and to become successful. And this isn't one of the keys, but the first thing that I think is very important for every single person is for you to define what success means to you, right? Because what means success means to me is different than you, then is different than every other person. And so I think the first thing is like decide what the target is that we're trying to shoot for. So that's the first thing I think is super important before we dive into the keys is really just like figure out what success is. For some people it might be making $10 million. For some people it might be being the best mother they possibly could, or being the most present father that they possibly could, or to go out and do more work for their community. So it's like, what does it mean to you is the first thing I really want you to figure out. And then the first key that I have for you, which is something that I have found, I don't know if I did it consciously or unconsciously, if I'm being honest with you. I think I just kind of started following what felt right. Like I really, truly trust my intuition, and I trust when I get a feeling to listen to that, to be quiet to it, and to try to follow it. And so my first key that I never hear anybody talk about, you can read all of the success books, all of the how to get rich quick books, or whatever the fuck they are that are out there. I never hear anybody talk about this. And the biggest key that I think I could give you is alignment. Is what is alignment for you? Like, what is it that you feel is the absolute best path for you? Not the path that has been programmed into you by your parents or by society or by how much money you think you should be making or by following the best major that's going to pay the best for you, but like what feels like the actual thing that you want to do in this world, and you need to follow it. And so what's really interesting for me is that I ended up, quitting my job in 2012. I backpacked in 2012 for 6 months or for 3 months by myself. And then I went back to Tampa, where I was from. And I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to be a musician. Like I really, more than anything else in this world, want to be a musician. And so I moved over to Austin, because it was either Austin or Nashville, because both of them are big music cities. And I didn't want to go to Nashville because it was too cold. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to move to Austin. I've heard some really good things. And this is before it blew up. And I moved over here and started meeting people and started getting in the music scene and all of that. Took music lessons, took voice lessons, bought equipment, microphones, audio interfaces, all of this stuff. And I was really hardcore in it for years. And then I just had this feeling that I should start a podcast in 2015. So 3 years after being here, I was like, I feel like I need to start a podcast. The best part about it was that everything that I needed to do inside of being a musician was almost completely transferable to being a podcaster as well. Like this microphone that I'm using right now is the exact microphone that I had, and the same microphone I've been recording on for almost a decade at this point. I had an audio interface that was already there. So I already had the microphone. I already had the audio interface. I already had the programs to make it on there. I had been taking vocal lessons for years. So I was my speech was pretty good at that point in time. I had done public speaking for years, so it just kind of fit. And then as I was writing podcasts out, I realized that as I wrote podcasts out, it was the same way that I made music. It was the same way that I did songwriting. And the way I would obsess over making sure that everything was perfect in it and there would flow and all of that. And so even though I thought like, oh, my ultimate life goal is to be a musician, which I'm still obsessed with music, it really was, once I started podcasting, it scratched that itch that I had for creativity. My number 2 key to success is not sexy at all. I rarely hear it as well. And it might surprise you a little bit. Here it is. My number 1 key to success, as hard as it is, or my number 2 key to success, as hard as it is patience. And I'll explain why in this episode as we continue to keep going through it. But it's not that sexy, right? You guys are like, ugh, patience. There's a few other key mindset shifts to make to be a little bit more patient. We live in the world where everything is immediate. You can get whatever it is that you want right now. If you want something, luxury bracelet, you could probably get it overnighted to you if you wired the money to them today, and it's going to be at your house tomorrow morning. If you want food, it can be delivered to you. If you want to be driven somewhere, someone will come pick you up within the next 5 minutes. If you want your food delivered to you, you can get it in the next 15 to 30 minutes. Everything is just immediate. Knowledge is immediate at this point, right? You can just Google something and immediately know. Success, though, is not immediate. And a lot of times we think that just because somebody pops out of nowhere They build a massive company, or they're massively successful, or they're a massive musician out of nowhere. You think that it just happened overnight, and it didn't. You don't see the 10 to 15 years of hard work, sometimes even more than that, accumulating skills, accumulating talent, accumulating knowledge to get them to where they need to be. So it looks like this immediate meteoric rise, but in reality, it was a really slow burn for a long time. It was that bamboo just not even popping out of the surface for the longest time. And as I get older, I can see all of these micro decisions that I made that paid off. And I was just persistent and I was patient. And it's really kind of wild because I can look back to when I was, half my life ago when I was 19 years old and be like, wow, I can't believe the choices that I made. And I just trusted in them. And then I just continued to be persistent and patient. And eventually it's all been paying off. But, that's like 20 years that it's been going. So most of us want like success now. But, before you can be patient, you have to decide what it is that you want, which is why the alignment thing is so important. Like before I start driving my car, I have to decide where I want to go. Otherwise, I'm just driving around and wandering around. Too many people are just wandering around in their lives and they're pissed off that they haven't gotten what they want yet. And then you ask them what they want and they can't even tell you in a full sentence. Right? So once you've decided what it is that you want, you have to get rid of all other options. You have to make up your mind. You have to burn the ships. You have to focus on plan A. There should be no plan B because it takes away from plan A. And then it's either I get it or I die trying. And you make the decision, I just will not stop at this. This is where a lot of people stop. They go, oh yeah, I'll give it a few months. No, you're not going to get what you want in a few months. It doesn't work like that. People work for 3 months and then they give up. You want to succeed? Just stop stopping. Going back to me starting this podcast again, I remember reading an article before I started the podcast and it said the average podcast has 7 episodes and then the person gives up. And so for me, like when I decide to do something, it is, I'm going to do this forever. So I was like, I'm going to do this podcasting thing. And if I just don't stop, I'm sure I'll figure it out. I'm sure I'll figure out my flow. I'm sure I'll figure out what type of stuff that I can create that I like to make, but also people enjoy. Put in the effort and then just be patient. And I know it's not that fun. It's not that fun. You always want it to happen faster than it will. But I promise you this, and I can tell you from my personal experience and many, 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 many people that I've seen that have become world-class at something or successful at something or great at something, is that you control the effort. And all you have to do is just take a step back and say, I just trust that eventually I'm going to get there. And we always want it to happen faster than it will. It will almost always take longer than you want it to. But when it does happen, it will be 10 times better than you thought it was going to be. So all you have to do is, number 1, make sure you're aligned. Number 2, make sure that you're patient. And then obviously part of the patience is you got to put the work in. That's the key between the two of them as well. So that's what I got for you for today's episode. If you love this episode, if you love this podcast, I'm about to launch something called Mindset Mentor Plus. So you can stop just listening to this podcast, but you can also fully integrate it into your life. And we're going to be giving out with everybody in Mindset Mentor Plus. Every single episode is going to come with detailed worksheets that has, full descriptions, a lot more than this just in this podcast to make it even more, interesting to you, to put more into your head so you can learn more. There's going to be journal questions to help you actually figure out how it fits into your life. There's going to be assignments that you can take from every single episode that you can make sure that you're fully integrating and actively using every single episode. There's also going to be exclusive question and answer sessions with me. There's going to be an access of thousands of people that are all Mindset Mentor listeners and many, many other bonuses. And it's probably going to be, for depending on how much you spend on coffee, probably less than you spend on coffee every single month. And the founding members, the people who sign up first, will get a discount. So to sign up for the waitlist, to be the first to learn about it, go to mindsetwaitlist.com, and then we will actually let you know and email you before we let everybody know on the podcast so that you can become a founding member. So once again, to learn more about it, go to mindsetwaitlist.com. And with that, I'm going to leave you the same way I leave you every single episode. Make it your mission to make somebody else's day better. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have an amazing day.